absolutely ravaged by green-eyed envy. We gigged together after he won the competition, and I was reminded that he earned the big bucks when he walked in with a see-through Apple carrier bag containing a £2,000 MacBook Pro laptop.
I will admit that was the actions of a total wanker. I regret it.
And you would be right, Josh. I thought to myself, here he comes, Mr. Moneybags, with his glory and his wares. He was also the resident compere on a Sunday night at my local comedy club up the creek, and he was doing tour support for Alan Carr, one of my favourite comedians. I fucking hated Josh back then. The worst part about it was that Josh was so humble and such a good bloke. There's nothing more sickening than wanting to hate someone and they don't give you any proper ammo to justify it. It's just your own internal frustration and demons working against you while he's in the Apple store dropping 2 bags on a laptop.
Initially, I'd presumed Rob was a knob. My first taste of him being a message he put on a Facebook group to say he could no longer do a gig because he'd won Leicester Square Comedian of the Year, and so was too much for a big shot. He denies this, but it is 100% true.
Not true.
However, over time, I grew to think he was one of the good guys, despite the fact he ended every set by saying "be lucky," like a Victorian chimney sweep, and was delighted every time we were put on a panel show together, particularly as it meant I had to say far less than I usually would, as he would talk for the whole recording. And this was lucky, as for a period, we were on every TV show together, be it 8 out of 10 Cats, or an episode of Mock the Week in which Ramesh Ranganathan made the insane decision to wear a red leather shirt. Ramesh denies this, but it is 100% true.
That is 100% complete bollocks about the message on the Facebook group. Ramesh wearing a red leather shirt is true though, but in his defence, I don't think he realised it was leather until we pointed it out before the show started, which was great for his confidence.
Particularly as he's a vegan.
Is he a vegan? He doesn't mention it.
No, he doesn't.
Josh gave me excellent advice when I started doing panel shows, which was make sure you laugh at everything the other comedians say. That way you get used loads in the edit, as they always need a shot of the comedians laughing. Most of the time the other comedians aren't laughing, as they are having a panicked look at their notes trying to get the next laugh.
Not that there's notes, because you shouldn't know what's going to happen because it's all off the cuff, obviously.
Yeah, that'll be notes that you'd write in the moment.
Yeah, of course.
You wouldn't take on any stuff prepared.
No, never.
That's not how comedy
works. That's not ever happened.
No. It's just very lucky that when I've stood at the little stand, South East London comes up as a topic.
Exactly.
It's just,
exactly.
And that didn't happen,
Exactly.
So yes, no notes needed.
The reason for the existence of this audiobook is coronavirus. Blame the guy that ate the bat.
Or fucked it.
One evening, about a month into lockdown, I told my wife, Rose, that I couldn't help with our daughter's bedtime, as I needed to go downstairs to send an important work voicemail. This must have seemed unlikely in the middle of a pandemic that cost me all of my work. But for some reason, she bought it, and I headed down to the sitting room to message a man who was still a year away from being famous for drunkenly eating chicken while wearing a bucket hat. As the first of many exclusives in this audiobook, here is that voicemail. Basically, what I've realised, Rob, is the only joy in my life are the WhatsApp groups in which I talk to other dads about how awful the existence of lockdown with children is. And it's twofold. It's A, laughing at their existence, and B, laughing about how much we hate our friends, like they walked into town for something to do, like a fucking wanker. So I was pondering this, and I thought there's a no risk and possibly very popular podcast you could do, where you'd do, say it was me and you, it'd be called something like the 2 worst dads in lockdown, maybe with a question mark, and you talk about your experiences in the first 10 minutes. Then you've had correspondence from people who are sending in their awful parenting that they've done, the things that have made them feel most guilty. I reckon I watched 20 Sarah and Ducks today. My screen time last week on my phone was 8 hours a day. This is fucking pathetic. And then the second half of the podcast, which would only need to be half an hour, would be an interview with someone else. For instance, John Richardson, Ramesh, Ellis and Izzy as one together, whatever. And it would be a very funny, very self-depreciating podcast in which you talk about how bad you're doing at parenting in lockdown. And you do them pretty quickly and you could knock them out, and it would give us something to do in the lockdown that if it was really, really successful, which it could be, because I think people would really like it and it'd be really funny, then maybe...